today, our presenters.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I want to go ahead and announce our presenters. Today we have AARP, and they are presenting fraud protection and downsizing and decluttering. We've got Brenda Charles Edwards and Mary Prescott. First, I'm going to introduce Mary. Mary Prescott. Mary has been a member of AARP for 17 years and a volunteer for 8 years. Mary is a former kinship caregiver and currently a volunteer for Atlantic Street Center, King County Kinship Collaboration, and a member of the King County Kinship Collaboration Advisory Board. We really want to welcome you today, Mary. Thank you so much for coming. And then we have Brenda Charles. So Mary's going to be running the PowerPoints and Brenda's going to be our presenter. We have Brenda Charles Edwards. My name is Brenda Charles Edwards. I have been a volunteer with AARP for over 4 years. I am the president of the Seattle AARP local chapter. I also facilitate workshops for legacy end of life planning through my company, Black Orchid Enterprises. Ooh, that sounds beautiful. I also provide notary public services and am a radio host. My show is called Seniors Matter. Yes, they do, Mary. I mean, not Mary. Yes, they do, Brenda. We all matter. But I like that. I love that name. It is live Fridays at 12:30 on Rainier Avenue Radio. Or is it Radio World?
Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
.world. Got it. Thank you. Well, welcome, Brenda. Thank you so much for coming.
It was a pleasure to be invited.
We're really grateful for you both today. We're grateful for AARP and for this presentation. We're going to go ahead and mute everyone and ask everyone who's not presenting to make sure that they're muted, please. And I want to remind everyone to please hold their questions until after Brenda's first presentation. We'll have a 10-minute presentation or Q&A, and then we'll have a 5-minute break before we have our second half of the presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Mary Prescott.
Okay. All right, give me a minute here and share. Okay, before I start, I'd like to say hello. It feels like a family reunion. I see so many familiar faces and names, so it's great to see you all. Okay. And then first, AARP Washington is committed to sharing information on ways to best protect ourselves from fraud, enhance our brain health, and to age safely in our homes. Last year, 2,100 Washington residents viewed one of our 70 virtual presentations given by volunteers and our Speakers Bureau. Welcome to AARP Washington's presentation on general fraud. AARP Fraud Watch Network is a nationwide effort to share information on ways to best protect ourselves from fraud. Today, Brenda will be sharing an inside look on how some scammers think. You'll learn how to improve safeguards against identity theft and fraud. We will share firsthand account from victims, and we will let you know what to do if you or someone you know has been a victim. Again, welcome to AARP Washington presentation on general fraud. And without further ado, I give you Brenda.
Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see you. I even see some names there that I recognize, and good to see all of you. As she said, my name is Brenda Charles Edwards, and I'm a volunteer with AARP. I don't remember the number of years exactly I've been with AARP as far as the Washington district, but it's been very enjoyable, very enlightening, and I'm glad I was given the tools to be able to go out and spread our word to our community. So we're going to get started.
One moment, it stopped sharing. Mary, sorry, there was an accident. Could you please share your screen one more time? Thank you, Brenda. Sorry, one moment.
Sure, no problem. I thought something seemed different there for a moment.
Yeah. You're muted, Mary, but. You're muted. I don't know if you're talking to me.
Yes, I am. I'm talking to you. Click back on. Okay, so I'm gonna try this again because all of a
Yes.
sudden the whole screen popped up. So let me hit share again.
Okay,
Okay,
wonderful. There it is.
okay, and here. Okay, are we there?
We're
We're
right here.
there.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Mary. So our agenda, well, let me just say that this training is meant to help you understand some of the basic precautions you can take to make yourself feel less of a victim of cybercrime. It's not going to make you 100% safe. These steps are just the beginning of the process of developing a mindset of trying to make yourself a harder target for cyber criminals to exploit. And in this discussion, we'll talk about practices you should develop to keep your personal information private online and how to avoid losing control of social media accounts to cyber criminals. We'll also talk about how to bank safely online, which despite scary headlines and some of the media is statistically safer than walking around with large amounts of cash in your pocket from visiting your local bank branch. We're going to give you some things to look at to help you recognize and counter phishing messages. And we'll finish up by talking about some of the most current scams related to COVID-19. So that is our agenda. So top cyber crimes of 2021 are the car warranty scams, tech support, Social Security, eliminate credit card debt, fake job offers, IRS, weight loss products, charity, and COVID-19. Remember, all scams count on being able to get you into an emotional state where you're easier to manipulate. That emotion might be fear, romance, excitement, or concern for the well-being of another. Regardless, manipulating your emotion is the fraudster's prime tool. There are a number of current scams that we just mentioned that are going on that you need to be aware of. And I'm going to talk more about scams than which are on the list and to give you an idea of how widespread this affects the adults 18 plus. The car warranty scam. So someone contacts you and tells you your car warranty, and tells you your car warranty is about to expire, so you need to get an extension. They ask you to provide personal information, credit card number, social security number, driver's license number. 70% of adults 18 and older reported encountering this scam in the past year. Next is tech support. Someone contacts you saying there's a virus on your computer, or you have a software license that needs to be renewed, and you need to act right away. 47% of US adults 18 and older encountered this in the past year. And I can personally say that my husband encountered it last summer when we were on vacation. Number 3, Social Security scams. Someone contacts you impersonating a federal agent and tells you that you're about to be arrested because your Social Security number has been implicated in some criminal activity like a drug ring, and that you need to confirm your Social Security number, name, address, date of birth, and other information. Sometimes the fraudster will tell you that you need to help trap the fraudster by withdrawing money and using a gift card to send it to the agent. Again, nobody from the Social Security office will ever contact you and demand money via gift cards. If you get a call like this, hang up. 43% of adults get one of these phone calls. Next, eliminate credit card debt. You get contacted or see an advertisement about helping you get rid of thousands of dollars of debt. The fee for their assistance, however, needs to be paid up front. 41.2% of adults have had this scam happen to them. Now, the fake job offer. You're contacted or you see a job listing opportunity to work from home, be a mystery shopper, or something else too good to be true. The job usually involves paying upfront a fee using your credit card or using your bank account, and you give them that information. 41% of adults got this encounter in the last year. Now, this is one of the big ones, the IRS scam. can either be someone using your personal information to file for a refund in your name, even if you aren't due a refund, or contacting you pretending to be from the IRS and telling you something's wrong with your tax return and you need to pay more. If you think someone has filed in your name, contact the IRS immediately and report it. Also, remember that no government agency will ever call you and demand immediate payment of fines or overdue taxes, especially requiring you to use gift cards. Almost 39% of adults experience this scam encounter in the last year. And I know someone, in fact, she ended up being a relative that was scammed that way. She lost $700. But I asked her, why didn't she say something? And she said she was afraid because they were telling her that if she didn't do it, they were going to call the police, come to her house, drag her out in handcuffs. I mean, it was just ridiculous. But that's part of the emotional part. That's part of getting you to do what they want you to do. Next is the weight loss products. This contact will tell you about a weight loss product they guarantee will help you lose weight fast and eat whatever you want. 35% of adults were exposed to this scam in the last year. Then there's the charity scam. Fraudsters are adept at tricking their victims and doing what they want. They're especially good at adapting their scams to take advantage of current events, like relief from natural disasters, popular causes, political campaigns. The current COVID pandemic has offered a perfect opportunity for fraudsters to leverage national fear and concern over infection. Make sure you carefully vet charities before giving. A clue for you is that they ask donations to be in cash, by gift card, or wiring money. And 35% of adults in the United States have encountered this scam. COVID-19 scams, as new information becomes available, scammers use it to their advantage. Be suspicious of anyone calling, texting, emailing, going door to door offering free testing and cures, wanting to sell supplies or home test kits. Always talk with your healthcare provider for advice on health-related matters. There are other popular scams that adults continue to encounter, and especially in the month of February, romance scams, where the fraudsters target lonely people on dating sites or apps, pretending to have romantic intentions to gain access to your money, credit cards, property, or identity information. Please be careful. Another big one is the grandparent scams, where someone contacts you pretending to be a grandchild who needs money immediately for an emergency, crisis, pay an outstanding bill, pay a hospital bill. Please be aware. And robocalls, that's my least favorite, and other phone scams. Annoying automated calls and text messages have become a fact of life in recent years. Making the problem more complex is that there are legitimate reasons to use automated calls in our daily lives, like confirming a doctor or dentist appointment. Use a cell phone anti-spam application and screen your calls using caller ID. Don't answer calls from numbers you don't recognize, even if they're from your local area code, because this is the way scammers have been getting people now. They can fix it where their calls look like it's coming from your 206, 253, whatever, our local codes. What do scams all have in common? Scammers are expert at contacting you when you are vulnerable, tired, overworked, death in the family, for instance, recent move, and possibly lonely. They know all the triggers and tricks to get you to share personal information and to give money. We're going to go into the tools you have to protect yourself, like cyber hygiene. The source is from the AARP National Fraud Frontiers Report 2021. And that link I can give to you later because it's a little long to just go out and try to tell it to you over the wires. Okay, so now let's talk about the 5 Ps. Before we talk about the resources, we want to quickly review 4 of the major points we hope you take with you today. Scammers pretend to be from an organization you know. Scammers say there is a problem or a prize. Scammers pressure you to act immediately. It's like, if you don't do it now, you're going to miss your opportunity. Scammers want you to pay in a specific manner. So, as I said before, Social Security, IRS, Medicare are not going to call you and ask you for money. So beware of charities, utility companies. Vet everybody that sends you something. And then, sometimes they send you things in the mail. And I love the ones where, I won't say they're scammers, but let's just say when you get a free dinner invitation, there is no free dinner. They want you to buy something. They want you to buy their product. So it might be nice to say, oh, I could go have dinner at Salty's, but know that, yes, they'll pay for your dinner, but they're expecting to get your money in return by using their product. And as I said before, anything to do with a prize, you're not going to get really anything. If you have to pay for a prize up front, you didn't win it. And I also like to say, for those families that go on vacation, please, please, please do not send photos of where you are while you're on vacation, because most photos can track saying where you are, your location, and it can be shown on Facebook. And so that gives the savory character the opportunity to go to your house and possibly break in. So remember just to share your pictures after you return, not while you're there. And let's see, I think I've covered everything except, like I told you, if anybody threatens you saying it's the last opportunity, let it go. Because if it's real, there'll be another opportunity. And don't send any gift cards to anybody, and don't send any money. And by all means, please do not give out any of your personal information. Just hang up the phone. And one of my favorite ones are, I get this one a lot, not so much lately, but the police guild used to call me all the time. And my brother at that time was a Seattle police officer, and he was over the fraud division. So I was telling him about this. So he started laughing. He said, well, you just need to tell them that your brother is head of the fraud division and you will be reporting him to him, reporting the scammers to him. I haven't heard back in probably 8 months. So I guess it worked. Next. Okay, so general cyber hygiene. We call the habits and precautions you need to adopt on your online life as our cyber hygiene. Exercising good cyber hygiene should help reduce your risk no matter what you're doing on the internet. Like the physical town you live in, the best way to avoid trouble on the internet is to stay away from locations where trouble is often found. While this probably isn't much of a problem for our members personally, visiting children or grandchildren can always ask to use your system and still expose you to problems. Historically, websites that deal in pornography, online gambling, unofficial mobile device application stores, and pirated games are all prone to host malware. That's not to say that you can't get bad stuff from any other website, just that these types are often found to harbor malware and other bad things. Cyber criminals tend to hang together just like other groups, so avoiding trouble always means not visiting sites that cater to them, such as hacking forums, dark websites, and online markets that host pirated software, hacking tools, drugs, or other questionable activities and goods. It's important to note, though, that all three parts of the internet can be dangerous and have risks. Don't think for a second that you're safe just because you don't venture into the dark web. Like most technology, areas that can be dangerous also can serve good purposes. For example, the dark web was designed and implemented to allow people safe internet access when living under repressive regimes that censor the internet and punish users who stray from officially sanctioned sources of news. Limiting the personal information you make available on the web, especially social media, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, to what you absolutely need. That includes profile information used to identify yourself on social media. We'll talk more about social media in a few minutes. Remember, posting your day-to-day activities and personal family information to publicly available social media may seem natural, but you're giving anyone with bad intentions access to information that can be used to target you or your connections. Most of us have heard enough horror stories and warnings to develop a sixth sense of sorts on what may be dangerous. Listen to that little voice in the back of your head that tries to warn you when you're about to do something unsafe. Excuse me just a moment. Next. How to stay safe online. Use caution when allowing others to use your computer, especially remote access. If you didn't ask for it, like a program, text, or email, delete it. If you don't use it, remove it. Periodically change your passwords and secret questions. And AARP recommends once a year as a good rule of thumb. And as I said before, you know, your kids and your grandkids, they're always excited to be on the computer, but you just need to make sure you watch what they're accessing because you don't want to get a virus put on your computer. If you get one of the warnings when you're browsing the internet, don't go to the site unless you're absolutely sure you know what it is. Be especially careful granting remote access to your computer. Never grant access to strangers to troubleshoot unless you know who they are, meaning you call them. If you get a pop-up message asking you to allow a new program to install, don't press OK unless you've asked for it and know what it is supposed to do. A good rule of thumb is, if you didn't ask for it, delete it. That goes for anything you receive, an unsolicited email, a text message, or an application. Many hackers try to capitalize on your confusion at receiving an unsolicited email or text to install unwanted malware. As I said before, if you don't use it, remove it. Periodically go through your computer and see what programs you've installed. If you don't know what it is, consider removing it. Many printers and other devices install essential programs and files with very cryptic names. If you delete an unknown program and start having problems in printing or other activities, you may need to reinstall what you removed. An increasing number of sites are offering means of protecting your accounts in addition to the standard passwords we all use now. These enhanced protection programs will send you a text or email with a confirmation number you enter after you enter your password. Others ask secret questions that theoretically only you know the answer to. And I just got a notification that I needed to change my secret questions. And I hovered over the part of an email to see, was this legitimate? Because most of the time, that was the first time I was asked to do that. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Secret questions are the least preferable enhancement options, since many secret questions aren't very secret at all. The information can often be found in social media posts, online quizzes, etc. Periodically change your password or secure question to make things a little more secure. Once a year is a good starting point, as I said earlier. Don't forget to immediately change any password you think has been compromised. That's very important. Next. "10 top worst passwords for 2021. Oh gosh, it's amazing, but I still don't understand how they can get in and figure out your password. But A cybersecurity forum called NordPass published a list of 2020's top worst passwords, and the first 10 of these are repeat players in previous yearly lists. And I think you can see them all: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The word password, you have to be a little more original. So what you need to do in having a strong password is use numbers, names, capital letters, and sometimes, you know, an exclamation mark or a asterisk, just different things like that to just mix it up. That is the best way to do it. And I get frustrated sometimes, and I think we're going to talk next about password security. I have one that's called Keeper, and I have all my passwords in Keeper, but you have a primary password to get into Keeper. So if you should forget it, then you've got to go through a bunch of hoops to get it, or to put in a new one, which is good. It's frustrating, but it's good to have. So we want to emphasize the basics of personal cybersecurity puts you ahead of most other users on the internet, and will possibly make a cyber criminal look for an easier target, because they don't want to have to spend a lot of time. So make sure you use strong, complex passwords or passphrases that are changed frequently and are not used on more than one site or application. And that's really key, because if you use the same password on all the sites you go to, you're making it really easy for someone to hack into one of your sites, and then they see they can use it for many others. Adding more numbers or special characters, that's like the exclamation mark or the asterisk, at the end will make this even stronger and harder to guess. Next. Using a password management program like Keeper, Dashlane, 1Password, or LastPass can help with this. All reputable password management vendors offer free or low-cost versions online. We recommend you strongly consider the paid versions, since they offer more automatic features that make the application easy to use. And I use the free version on my Keeper. Many password managers integrate to your browser and automatically fill in your user ID and password for you. They also can generate strong passwords for you. They all will, and if you let them generate a password for you, you don't have to memorize it. It'll automatically take care of that. They all will encrypt your password file and store the file either on your device or in the cloud. Choose the one you're most comfortable with and then input your website's user's name and passwords into it. Some will automatically alert you to instances where you're using the same password on more than one site. Next. Once again, it is so important to have a strong master password. Here is an example. AARP is #1 in fighting fraud in Washington state. And what that equates is capital A, I as for the S, and then the symbol pound, the number 1, lowercase I, uppercase F, lowercase I, uppercase W, uppercase S, and then the exclamation mark at the end. No matter which application you choose, though, it probably requires a master password. So make sure that this password isn't easily guessed, as it will open all your passwords, as I said before. Something like using the first letter of each word in a phrase, just like we went over with the example, is something that you're less likely to forget and someone else is less likely to figure out. Next. Using what they call the two-factor authentication on applications that offer this additional security feature, especially on social media and financial applications, is a must. When I first encountered this, I was a little annoyed, but then I realized, especially for my banking, that I needed to have that. And actually, when I'm not on my computer, and I go into my email account, it has a two-factor oh, here we go. Oh God, pardon me, authentication. It goes to my, so if I'm on a computer and I'm trying to get into my account, email account, I have to have my phone on because it'll go to my phone and ask me if it's me or not. So I've gotten used to it now, and I think it's a great asset to have. Using secret questions is falling out of favor now, since the answers to most questions are easily guessed or found somewhere on social media. Better to use fingerprints or text confirmation number to your phone. More and more popular programs like Facebook and Twitter are using similar methods to help prevent accounts from being hacked. And that I've talked to a number of people that have had their Facebook accounts hacked, and I've even received emails from some of my friends that have. You should make it a practice to use two-factor authentication whenever it's offered. Keep all applications, operating systems, and security software like antivirus, anti-malware apps current through routine updating. Turn on automatic updates on whatever application is the easiest way to do so. Windows 10 comes set to automatically install their updates. I just went through that last night. If automatic updating isn't offered or isn't reliable, schedule a time to routinely check for updates to your programs manually. Do not use the same password and user ID across multiple websites. Password reuse is one of the first things hackers test when they get hold of one user ID password combination. That is so important. Please remember that. If one is compromised, all the others are too. This is especially vital for financial applications and social media. Next. Robocalls. Sometimes they're annoying, but I do like hearing from my doctor's office when they send me one. Scammers use robocalls or in-person calls to try to defraud you. While true criminals, cyber criminals don't care if you're on the do not call register, it's free and can cut down on advertising calls from businesses that honor the registration. And one thing about the do not call is you have to register every year. It's not automatic. There are tools for blocking unwanted calls and texts to your mobile phone. 3 of the top ones are No More Robo, Robo Killer, and Haya. They're available on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Free and low-cost versions are available. And be aware, though, that they may capture and share information like your phone number, your phone carrier, AT&T, Verizon, whether you're using an iPhone or Android. Landline phones cannot use the same tools as mobile phones, though. So separate devices are usually required to block unwanted calls on landlines. If you still have a wire-based landline phone, your best bet is to consult your carrier to see if they have devices available or can recommend one to you. I know my mom still has one. Okay, so regardless if you answer a call by mistake, hang up as soon as you realize it's a scam call or robocall. Don't press any buttons to unregister for future calls or engage in any way. Don't respond to questions, like if they ask you if this is a phone number. Fraudsters have asked if they have the correct number, then they record your voice saying yes. They can then use that recording to falsely agree to credit card purchases, financial transactions, or other frauds. Use caller ID to screen for unknown calls, but remember, caller ID numbers can be easily falsified to display any number the fraudster desires. One common trick is to make the caller ID appear to come to your area code, hoping to appear legitimate. Fraudsters know you're more likely to answer a call that comes from your own area because you think it might be legitimate. Many people use caller ID and voicemail in tandem. Fraudsters rarely leave a voicemail if the call is unanswered. Keep that in mind. Legitimate people who want to talk to you will probably leave you a message. Next. It's startling how many appliances and commonly used home devices want to connect to your home internet. I understand alarm systems, but why does my washing machine need to let me know when it's done? I can hear the buzzer. Alarms, surveillance cameras, home assistants, think Alexa, smart TVs, and even things like refrigerators, washer and dryers all urge you to hook them to your home network. The problem with this is devices like these, which are called Internet of Things, are often not very well secured to begin with and frequently don't have instructions on how to connect securely to your home network. You can do things to secure your home network, however. First off, determine if it even makes sense to hook up a given device for your home. Like I said, do you really need your washing machine to let you know that it's done? Remember, you have the choice not to let a device into your network. And most of the ones that do try to get into your network aren't secure, and they don't really operate as properly as they should. Some devices won't operate at all, and most effectively not on your network. But do you really need them? I don't think so. If you decide to put it on your network though, make sure you change all associated passwords immediately. Turn on a two-factor authentication if available. Most of the horror stories about baby monitors, cameras, and other items you read about in the press come from having devices that are not secured with a complex password or two-factor authentication code. A good way to isolate your home with these devices is to hook them to your wireless router's guest network and use a separate password to secure the guest network. Be careful in setting up these devices and allowing them to access to other parts of your network. Recently, there's been a surge in fraudster activity, leveraging phony setup assistance for things like streaming devices, Hulu, Amazon Fire Stick, etc., and services. Next. Okay, online financial security. Most people tend to focus on having their money taken by hackers through their mobile banking applications. And many unfortunately avoid online banking because of this. But it's not really the banks, because the banks have had strong security systems in place for years, and they know how to protect your money. So it usually comes from our end, the customer, because we don't have the strong password to keep from being compromised. Also, avoid conducting financial business in public places. Don't go to the coffee shop, the airport, or hotels and do your banking because they're not secure. Now, if you have your own hotspot, you can do it that way, but don't use anything that's public. And most banks offer or require a form of two-factor authentication in addition to passwords. So please make sure you use them. It is important. It seems a little cumbersome sometimes, but it is really necessary. Next. Luckily, basic steps we've been discussing, antivirus, strong passwords, will protect the banking applications along with all the other apps you use in your laptop or smartphone. Make it a habit to monitor your bank transactions regularly to make sure you spot anything unusual early. If you do, immediately contact your bank and start asking questions. Using the Remember Me option available on most websites can be convenient, but it can also pose a risk if it remembers both your ID and password. Unfortunately, you may never realize that it's happened. If your computer is lost or stolen or taken over remotely, it could allow a hacker to access your money. Using a password manager is probably safer. Many banks offer to send you text messages or emails whenever there's a transaction on your credit card or bank account that exceeds the amount you determine. And it's a good idea to to put a limit on the amount. A smart trick to use is when your account is low, like say 25 cents or 50 cents. So if anyone charges to your credit card or tampers with your account, you'll get instant notification. And when I make some charges on a card that I may not use very often, I get a call from the fraud division of that bank asking me, did I make that purchase? And I will usually know, yes, I did, or no, I didn't. So that's something to keep in mind too. It does work. It says, don't worry about charges for a penny or two. Many businesses charge and then immediately refund a small fee if it's still alive and it hasn't been canceled. So that's something to keep in mind too. Online financial security, government fair credit laws require the three main credit reporting agencies to give you a free credit report annually. And the three agencies are Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Now, during COVID, the credit bureaus were allowing individuals to check their records up weekly for free instead of only once a year. And this is supposed to end on April 22nd, but that restriction is no longer mentioned on the annualcreditreport.com website. So I would try getting your report for free every week as long as you can, because it sounds like they know COVID isn't over, really, but they're still giving us the opportunity to check and make sure that our credit is still good. And then one good technique in monitoring your credit accounts is to set up a system where you can ask for your free annual report from your the three major agencies, but rotate it for every 3 months. That way you get a fresh credit check every quarter for free. And then if you tend to buy a lot online, have 1 or 2 designated cards for your online purchases and stick to using them exclusively. That way, if you see online transactions on another card, you're automatically alerted that something is wrong and your card may have been compromised. When you physically use your cards at an ATM, gas pump, or any other skimmer, and that's where you stick your card in, that's a skimmer, be alert to anything unusual with the card slot or keypad. If it appears to be loose, stained, or damaged in any way, do not use it. Consider entirely eliminating the use of your debit card to pay for things. Debit cards offer a cybercriminal a direct line to your checking account if stolen, and they can easily empty or overdraw your account. Banks are technically not required to replace funds stolen this way, but almost always do. Credit card fraud losses are limited to $50, and most banks will monitor and stop credit card frauds automatically. Choosing the credit option when you use your debit card may or may not offer some fraud protection depending on the bank. You are not using your debit card as a credit card with all of the same protection. However, the credit debit choice has more to do with how the transaction is processed than anything else. Okay, how to catch a fish. Some experts believe phishing and spam emails and texts make up more than half of the traffic on the internet today. It's not hopeless, however. With a little care and skepticism about all your emails, you can significantly reduce your chances of becoming a victim. One way is to carefully examine all emails you receive for red flags that something's wrong. In the next few slides, we'll give you some things to look for. Here's an actual email received by one of our Fraud Watch team. Start looking at the top line that says, one message waiting to be read, terrorist. Ignoring the poor English, what's with that extra word, terrorist? That's a trick phishing scammers are using to try to fool programs to try to catch spam and phishing emails before they get to your inbox. If you see an email with a random word attached to the subject line, that's a dead giveaway that the sender is trying to evade anti-spam tools, and the email probably should be just deleted immediately. Next, look at the return address carefully. If it's supposed to be from someone you know or have done business with, like on Facebook, does the return address make sense? In this case, it doesn't seem to have anything to do with Facebook, so that's another red flag. Also, if you hover your cursor over the links in the body of the email and look at the bottom left corner of the browser window, you can see where clicking on that link will take you. This works for almost all browsers commonly used today. In this case, clicking on any of the links in the email would take you to a website in Russia, recognizable from the .ru in Kuzpanks.ru. This clearly has nothing to do with Facebook. Okay, so now your little voice should be saying, delete this message now. In fact, that's what we want you to do with any suspicious email you get. Delete it. Don't click on the unsubscribe link or button at the bottom of the email. Like in this example, it might take you to a bad website anyway. And at the very least, it sends a message back to the scammer that this is a live email address and might be worth more effort. One thing it won't do is unsubscribe you from future phishing emails. Also, resist the urge to play with the fraudster. Remember, these people are professionals who do this daily. Chances are very good that any interaction with them you have won't end well at all. And that means end well for you. Next. Here are some important things to know to protect against phishing scams. Neither the government nor banks or credible merchants will ask for personal or account information by email. If a company claims to have an account with you, sends you an email asking for personal information, do not click on the link. Instead, type the company name into your web browser, go to the site, and contact them through customer service to ask whether the company really sent a request. And never respond to requests for personal information, your social security number or account numbers. Don't open files, click on links, or download programs sent by strangers. Opening a file from someone you don't know could expose your system to a computer virus or spyware that captures your passwords or other information. Hackers have recently been seen using QR codes instead of printed web addresses. QR codes are those fuzzy square boxes containing black designs that will lead you to a website if you take a picture of them with your phone's camera. A lot of restaurants had started doing that during COVID, so you could see the menu instead of passing out menus to you. Beware of messages that are just too good to be true. They probably are. If someone says you're a winner and asks you to fill out a form with your personal information, please don't be tempted to start filling it out. Do some research first. Sometimes you can be tricked into thinking the email's from someone you know and trust. If you see a message from someone you know that doesn't seem like them, their account may have been hacked by a criminal who's trying to get money or information from you. So please be careful how you respond and always check in with them, not via email. Call them before responding if you have serious doubts. Be especially suspicious of messages from friends asking for money. Wouldn't they call you if they really wanted some money? The best way to protect yourself is to always thoroughly read messages. Does the sender's address differ from his or her name, like 345boo@yahoo for Mike Jones? Are tone, spelling, and grammar off the mark? And when you see the grammar off, that's a really good indication that that's a spam. Are signature titles overly generic or flat out weird? Do emails from businesses end with Hotmail, Gmail, or Yahoo address rather than companyname.com or .org? All scams. And how do you check whether a website is authentic? Without clicking, place your cursor over links. If the pop-up address doesn't match, assume the worst. Another important tip, when you're on a site where the address begins with HTTPS, it's more than likely secure, but this isn't guaranteed. Hackers are now known to mislabel web addresses to indicate they're secure, when in reality, the hacker is manipulating it.
Brenda, I just wanted to let you know it's 11.
Okay, I am almost done. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Okay, now COVID scams. So throughout the pandemic, FTC reports COVID criminal activity has exploded. As of July 5th of last year, more than 759,000 reports related to COVID-19 had been filed nationwide. Of these complaints, losses totaled $845 million. In Washington State, it was 7,234 complaints, 23 million lost. And it's so sad, but this is what they do. The number one complaint, a return to the slide, a number one complaint is online shopping. Goods are not delivered. And I have experienced that too. So I'm like, okay, I have to be very, very careful now. And they tell you that they have a return policy, but it's never honored. And then they know that you're worried about COVID. So sometimes there's, like, even with masks, ordering masks, be very careful about ordering masks. Make sure that the company you're ordering from is reputable. And if you're on Medicare, you should not be charged anything for testing for a vaccine. So if someone tells you that, in fact, when you go to if you go to some of these vaccination sites, and if they ask you if you have medical insurance, you don't have to say you do. I'll just say that. Let's go to the next one. Before you talk, so we talked about the 5 Ps. I thought we did this one already. Okay. I'm just going to go over this briefly. If you have any doubt that when someone starts asking you for money for any organization, just say no and hang up. It's your phone. You can say no. Don't feel guilty. So our next slide is the AARP resources. We have the AARP Fraud Watch Network call center. And we have, it's 1-877-908-3360. And then we have the free watchdog alerts at aarp.org/fraud watch network. And we'll have that information available for you also after the meeting, in case you weren't able to get an opportunity to write it down. And lastly, no, not lastly, almost lastly, we've shared various tips regarding the information sources, and these resources will be emailed to you also. So you don't have to worry about that too. So we have the Fraud Watch Network, COVID-19 scams, a con artist playbook, 13 ways con artists steal your money, and how to freeze your credit. And we didn't really talk much about how to freeze your credit, but there, if you have been scammed and and you've given up money, there is a way to go to that particular credit card, and there's a link inside of your account that shows you how to freeze your account. I would also say that if your account has been hacked, you need to go to the 3 credit bureaus and have your credit frozen, so no one can make any purchases in your name. And that is it for now. The other presentations we have are Brain Health, Home Fit, Living Longer, Living Smarter, and Prepare to Care. And if you need any of those topics, just let us know. Thank you for coming. Are there any questions?
If you have
I have a
questions,
question.
please. Oh, who's that?
This is Danita.
Go ahead.
Someone's phone is on and I can hear the background.
Okay, so I was wondering, I heard, but I've never heard it before. I was at the Social Security office the other day and I heard somebody say they came up there to lock their Social Security card. Is that a thing that you can do? I have one of my kinship kids that has made some horrible adjustments on my credit. He's tried to buy 4 cars
Ooh,
and he's tried to open up several credit card accounts. So I have a whole bunch of hard hits and it keeps going down, down, down. And I just want to put a lock on my whole situation.
so are you wanting to put a lock on your Social Security? Or are you wanting
Yeah.
to put? Okay, so do you have an account set up with Social Security?
No.
Okay. You need to get an account so you
Mhm.
can monitor what's going on, and then they, through your account, will send you different things about your Social Security, what you get and all of that.
Mhm.
And I'm not positive, but I would think that they would have information on how if you can block your card. So I would go on the website, Social Security website, and get your account, and then see if they have that on there. And if not, give them a call. I know sometimes you have to wait a long time to reach someone. That's why I say go ahead and establish your account first, because that
Yeah.
information might be there.
You got a
I have an
database.
account, but I haven't researched that.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't hear further what the lady said. She just came in when, you know how they check you in, and she said, I came to put a block on my Social Security. And I was like, oh, you could do that.
Yeah,
So,
well, I know you can definitely do, as I said before, your credit reports. You can block those. So you might want to do that. If you're
I've
not
tried that.
anticipating, I'm sorry,
I've tried that. I'm sorry.
it didn't work?
Well, it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't, because I did get a call from American Express asking me if I was trying to open an account, and I told them no. But then 2 cards came through. Fortunately, I caught them when they came in the mail.
Mm. Well, that is fortunate, because a lot of times they'll try to change the address or where it'll go to.
Yeah, he just thinks he's so smart. That's why he sent it here. He thought he could grab it before I saw it.
Well, I'm glad you were able to get it. But like I said, open up your account, and then, and call them too, or go down. It's probably easier to go down in person than to call.
Okay.
Thank you
We
for your
also
question.
have in the chat box, Renee said you could also freeze your credit report, and Crystal said she should also look into freezing her credit via all 3 credit bureaus.
Right, I
That was
said
Crystal
that.
Bell. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed
Yeah,
that. I
I
apologize.
said that in my presentation, and I also said it to her just now.
I apologize.
No
I was
problem.
looking at my messages.
No problem. Is there another question?
Anybody else?
Okay.
Teresa, I think Teresa has a question. Teresa, you're muted.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yeah, for the past couple of weeks, I've been getting scammed from Xfinity, and they keep calling my brother. And one time, he wrote him a check for $2,000 because he has onset Alzheimer's. And I went over there and blocked all the numbers on his phone, but he called me yesterday and said somehow they got through again, because they even had my number, and they called me and said, you need to go over to your brother's house and get him to write a check or something. And I went off on them, and then I reported them to Xfinity, and they said my brother's account was current and not delinquent and under no threat. So I'm wondering, how do they get all this information? How do they get my phone number? Do you think it's an inside job at Xfinity?
Well, it's possible that someone's hacked into the.
Oh, his account.
Yes, and you're listed as.
Yeah, I am thinking
contact.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I reported it to Xfinity, but that was last week. But they still are getting through these scammers, and they're coming out of Florida. That's really weird, and I'm really scared because he might end up doing something crazy again.
Well, you can also report this to the Attorney General's office, Bob Ferguson. He's really big on fraud. So
Okay.
fraud prevention, I should say.
Okay. And then gave a fraud what I called to report things like that are happening to AARP Fraud Watch, or is that something that's different than what they handle?
I'm most of what you said was, I don't know what's happening here, but most of what you said I couldn't understand. There's a
Teresa,
feedback.
if you could type it, because your connection's kind of shaky.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll write it. But thank you so much.
Good girl.
I'm on the computer. I don't know what's going on with this thing.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So like I was saying to her, is she muted? Okay. Like I was saying to her, Bob Ferguson, our Attorney General, is really big on fraud prevention, and he's done a lot of work on trying to help people get back money they've lost and just shutting down a lot of these scammers. So if you're having more detailed problems like this lady was having, feel free to contact our local Attorney General's office. So, hi, cutie.
Are there any more questions before we go to a break?
Yes, I have a question. Brenda, you had mentioned something in your talk about the anti-spam application. And I wanted to know, what is that, and can you get that anti-spam application?
Anti-spam application. What was that in reference to?
Oh gosh, I just jotted it down because I wanted to remember.
Was it no more robo calls?
I don't remember. I just wrote down that when she said it, and I just wrote it down. So
was it was it about having a two-factor authentication?
no, I think it may have been what Mary said, something doing with the robocall. I'm not sure. I wish I had just wrote down the whole thing,
No problem.
Yeah.
Let me try to
Is it spam on your computer? Or okay, what?
Yeah, was it with the computer or the phone?
That's a good question. That's a good question. It may have been with the phone, though. It may have been with the phone.
Okay, so
is there such thing as the anti-spam application that you could do something with? And that was my question. How do you?
Well, one thing, when you are on the internet and you go to different apps, you need to have a place to keep your passwords. And that will help in securing you're not having somewhat spams, not having spam. But do not call the registry is supposed to help with not having spam calls come in. But as I said before, you have to register every year, and it doesn't get everything, but it gets a lot,
Okay,
and it's free.
it's free. Okay, maybe that was it, because I get a lot of spam calls on my especially my cell phone, the house phone too, but mostly the cell phone, you know, and maybe that was the one that was you were pertaining to.
Because
Yeah.
a lot, you know, and with our phones, the fraudsters have been able to make their calls show up on caller ID as, you know, a 206, 253, whatever. And they want you, because I've gotten to the point now where if there's not a name that pops up on my phone when it rings, I don't answer it. I just let the call go to voicemail. And if
And
somebody's
I don't,
really
yeah, I
calling
don't
me,
answer. I don't answer it either. And then once, you know, I hang up the phone for a little bit, then I will check to see if they left me a voice message. And so I don't get a voice message. So right then and there, I say, well, it must not have been important. And then I do hit the block button on my cell phone. But it seems like that they just call from another extension, you know.
sure, yeah, they're going to try all the ways they can to get to you. But like you
Right.
say, if you don't recognize the number, then don't answer the phone.
Yeah, I don't.
I know that's hard
never
for
do.
us sometimes because we like talking and we, you know, we don't want to miss a call. But if someone really wants to reach you, they're going to leave a voicemail.
Right. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I never answer the call if it's not a number that I don't know or don't recognize. Even sometimes, just like this past week, I had a couple of calls from. It was some really weird names, you know, but I didn't answer because I didn't recognize the name nor the phone number. And so I waited a bit, and then I went into the voicemail to see if they left a message. Well, of course, they didn't leave a message. So I figured, well, it wasn't a call meant for me to answer.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Brenda, I see we have a few more questions, but it's after 17 minutes after 11. So maybe if we have time save your questions at the end of the other presentation.
Yes,
we can
absolutely.
address those. Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that if we could all go to a 5-minute break, we'll be right back. And then there will be plenty of time for the rest of the questions after Brenda's next presentation. So go ahead and take a break, go to the restroom, warm up your tea, and we'll see you guys back here in 5.
Brenda, can you see the screen? Brenda, can you see my screen?
Yes, I see your screen.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I was on mute, didn't realize it.
Okay.
Are we back?
No, I'm just getting ready. Mhm.
Okay,
One more minute.
okay.
You guys are doing an amazing job.
Okay,
Thank-
thank you.
I'm making my army.
So do you know that we're still recording?
Yes, I'll go in and edit it before I
Okay.
send it out.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
I see
Maybe not-
Crystal Bell is here.
Mhm, yes.
So I couldn't put her, I couldn't say anything to her in the chat. So hi, Crystal. Thank you for this opportunity.
Geez, sir.
Okay, if everybody can trickle back in, we're going to get started. Just a reminder that all your other questions will be answered after this presentation. Try to write them down if you can, or write it in the chat and I will save it and ask it for you. Whatever works. So I'm going to go ahead and in just a moment, I'm going to pass it back over. So just want to make sure everybody's settled.
Give me the word.
Okay. I'll just wait till 24 after. There we go. Okay,
Ready?
welcome back. Yes, welcome back. This is AARP presenting downsizing and decluttering. We've got Brenda Charles Edwards and Mary Prescott. Here you go, Mary.
Okay, again, welcome to AARP Washington's presentation on downsizing and decluttering. Are you surrounded by stuff in your house that you don't know what to do with or how to find it when you need it? Maybe it's time to downsize and declutter, but where should you start? In this webinar, Brenda will share organizing solutions to help you declutter. You'll learn more about ways to manage the emotions we have attached to physical items, secrets to deciding what to keep and what to toss, and the most important of decluttering and creating order in the digital age. Brenda, welcome Brenda again.
Greetings, good to see you all again. Okay, so this is a favorite subject of mine. And back up one slide, Mary, because I want to
Okay.
show King Tut.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody knows who King Tut was. So we're going to talk about him later, but I just want you to keep a look at his face and his surroundings. Okay, next slide, please. So we have a couple of key goals for this session. We want to help us gain a general understanding of why stuff is so important to us. And oops, and it is. I just had the, I don't know if I want to say opportunity, but we're trying to sell our house. And the real estate agent said, well, the best thing to do is to clear out the whole house and we'll stage it. And I said, clear out the whole house? You mean pack up everything and move out? Is that what you're saying? That's what he was saying. That was trauma that I'm sure many of you have experienced. And I'm still traumatized by it because I haven't unpacked everything that I packed up because we had to move back in. But anyway, we want to help all of us gain a general understanding of why stuff is so important to some people and learn practical, easy to follow downsizing, decluttering tips. We hope to have some fun today and we may share a few laughs, and I hope you were laughing at me when I told you about my little horror story. So Mary, can we have the next slide, please? So older Americans are the fastest growing demographics. 10,000 people turn 65 every day. That's just amazing to me. And 2011 marked the beginning of a large age wave with over these people, our people turning this age. And in the next 20 years, we're going to see this happening even more. It says 15% of America is over 65 right now, and in 40 years, 33% of America will be over 65. Oof, this will be the largest, most powerful buying group in America, I guess. So next, we have generations and their stuff. So from 1928 to 1945 was the silent generation. 1946 to 1964 were the baby boomers. 1965 to 1980 was Gen X. And 1981 to 1996 was the millennials. This may be the last time we will have 4 generations still alive at the same time. For older Americans, the age gap between their parents and themselves is about 20 years. For our Gen Xers, they're about 30 to 35 years older than their kids. The 2 oldest generations have the most stuff, and both generations wants to pass it down to the younger 2. Many of these folks grew up during the Depression. Many had few treasures, but they were highly valued by members of the family. And later I'm going to ask you, can you share some examples from your own family? We are distinctly different generations, socially and financially. Well, I'll ask you this question at the end, because you're all muted right now. Next. So why does all this matter? Well, we have the largest group ever needing health care. 2 of the generations attach pride to their possessions. We're facing a shortage of affordable housing, and healthcare costs are rising. The number one thing that impedes people from leaving their homes and or getting healthcare into their homes is their stuff. Another thing that can impede people from even starting a downsizing project is similar to end-of-life planning. It's called denial. I just don't want to talk about it. Next. In 2017, the National Care Survey said the majority of caregivers said handling the stuff was the most stressful part of selling a loved one's estate. Keeping in mind, if we don't deal with our stuff, someone else will have to, usually our kids or other family members. We've worked so hard for all of our stuff, and the cold, hard reality is our kids and grandkids don't want it. The problem is, next slide, no one wants our stuff. And it's sad, but it's true, because sometimes I don't want my stuff. And when I had to pack up, I did get rid of a lot of things. But when we had to move back in the house, I realized I still had things I probably should have gotten rid of. So say to yourself, no one wants my stuff. Now, let's talk about the 10 top tips as to how to get rid of our stuff. 1, we should include everybody in this project. That means husbands, grandkids, everyone. Some of us have lived in a home for more than 50 years. For me, it was 20 years. Do you think we can downsize and declutter by ourselves in one weekend? I know we can't. No way. So that's why we have to have help from everybody. So now, how we're going to do this? So we're going to have 10-minute sweeps. This is the best way to clean a room. Instead of looking at the room as a whole, look at a small 2 foot by 2 foot area. Always compare this to losing 50 pounds. If you try to do it in a week, it doesn't work. But if you focus on 1 pound at a time, it works. So have everyone in the family pick a 2 foot by 2 foot area, and everyone cleans for 10 minutes. Not more than 10 minutes, not less than 10 minutes. Try to try it at night 10 minutes before your favorite TV show comes on. Stay consistent, 5 nights a week, every week, and you will see that your home will start to look clean after a few weeks. Next, unpack bags. What is the proper way to unpack a bag after vacation? Well, mine is still unpacked upstairs. There's been two answers that usually occur when this question is asked. First answer is immediately when you get home. Second is right after before my next trip. Same holds true for grocery bags. When you get home, it's important to unpack them immediately. Don't put the bag down. If you put it down, it won't get put away. Always unpack the bag immediately. This can be your beach bag, your gym bag, whatever bag. Next, every item has a home. Don't let stuff you bring home stack up. Put everything where it's supposed to go. And mail is a very common challenge because I experience that one all the time. One idea is to sort it over the recycle bin before it comes to the house. Well, unfortunately, my recycle bin is not outside. Groceries go in the kitchen, tools go in the garage, clothes go in the closet, which brings us to another rule: equal in, equal out. Now, I hope everyone knows what that means. Equal in, equal out means when you bring something new into your house, something of the same size has to come out. You can't keep them both. Just because the item is on sale doesn't mean the home gets bigger. Then we have the 4-pile sort. Number 1 pile is keep. Number 2 pile is sell. Number 3 pile is donate. And number 4 pile is trash. When sorting your items, break them into these 4 piles. It's important to put the sale and donate pile next to you and the keep pile far away. It's amazing to see how much you don't keep if you have to walk all the way over to the keep it. It's true. Okay, then this is one that really I can also relate to, and it's keepsakes or legacy items. My mother has this beautiful mirror that she had in the living room. And she said to me, when I die, you can have that mirror. And I said, when you die? How about if I have it now? So I can get use out of it and you know that I have it. So I did get the mirror. I also got the piano too. I wasn't exactly wanting that, but she says, well, since you're taking things, why don't you take the piano too? Oh boy, thanks, Mom. And I still have it. I have them both. But distributing legacy items means that you no longer tell a loved one, like I just said, that you're going to give them something when you're gone. So many times we hear people say they want to give something away to their children when they pass, but the reality is you should give it to them now so they can enjoy it. Make sure you really want to get rid of it now, and if you don't, stop saying you will. Don't be surprised by the results. Lots of times we see people say they're going to give the piano away when they die, but like I said, Mom gave it to me now. And when we push away the legacy items now, they decide not to give it. So you have to ask yourself, do you really want this item? What meaning does it have? Share the legacy stories that are attached to the item with your family. Write them down or record them. Remember, the younger folks in your family likely don't know the people you associate these items with. Think about how you would feel if your legacy items are rejected as unwanted. Think about the emotions that are attached to these items. Then, avoid punting. Punting is when you convince, possibly through guilt, the next generation to taking an item they probably don't want anyway. We often have furniture that we kept from our parents because we knew they would be upset if we didn't take it. But we never actually wanted it and we kept it out of obligation. Guess what? The next generation don't feel that way. They simply don't want it. And how do you find out they don't want it? You ask them. If the person says they don't want it, then don't say, you just don't know what you want yet. But your grandma loved this, and then save it for them. If they don't want it, they don't want it. And it's our job to respect it. Sell or donate the item to someone that does want it. Next, donate, donate, donate. The reality is there is always someone else that needs it more than we do. Focus on finding a place you want to give something away versus how much it's worth. Our nation was built on service. It's not time to start focusing on the money. We focus on giving to people that truly need and places that donate for immediate use and not resell at a retail store. Examples include Dress for Success for clothes, Souls for the Soul, that's S-O-L-E-S for S-O-U-L for shoes, Tech for Troop for electronics, and Catholic charities or women's shelters, and stay away from resellers like Goodwill. Be realistic. Clothing. Next. We often aren't very realistic about our items. This is a picture of an adult man's closet. To the left are his size 28 pants, then moving right are 30s, then some 32s, and a bunch of 34s, and finally 3 pairs of 36s. Don't laugh, but yeah, laugh. Then say, there are 20 pairs of pants here, and he admits only 3 fit him. Why is he holding on to them? Does he think that he'll get back into them? Really? He won't. So it's okay to give away the 28s, the 30s, and the 32s. And I know I went through that too, because I looked at some clothes I had, and I had to ask myself that question. Are you really going to wear this again? I mean, and to me, if I keep the larger size, I'm only setting myself up for failure after I've lost some weight. So I got rid of larger sizes. Food. Food's the same way. Those dates that say it's expired, next, those are real dates. Oh, you went there, you don't, okay, yeah. I forgot there's no picture on the food. So why do we hold on to food? Because our parents told us about real hunger during the Depression. Helpful hint, food dating started 1984. If there isn't a date on the food, it's over 35 years old. That's expired. If you moved twice and took the food with you both times, it's probably expired. Okay, pare down paper and photos. This was really challenging. Mail, shred old documents, bills, and photos. I got rid of a lot of photos. I have had albums for years. And I finally decided that I've been in this house 20 years. And I had some wonderful times that I took pictures of. But do I really need to keep them? Because I don't go through them on a regular basis. So I shredded most of them. I did not shred my wedding album though. So with paper, it's the hardest because it represents potential contacts, potential lost friendships, dates, potential phone numbers, money, memories. It's all about potential. We naturally don't want to lose those things, so we hold on to paper. We recommend shredding all paper, especially mail, if you have a shredder. If you don't have a shredder, we recommend putting a cardboard box in the trunk of your car for storage and sorting mail at the source. Take it out of the mailbox, rip it up into small pieces. And also, you can go to Office Depot, and there's other places around too, that have shredders. They'll weigh it for you. They're going to charge you, but you're not going to burn out your little shredder because they can't shred a lot of paper. I did that too, and they also had times where there were coupons. So, but for me, it was worth bagging everything up. I didn't use a box, I used a plastic bag, bagging everything up and putting it in my car and driving down to Office Depot and letting them weigh it. I paid it, then I have to stick it in the box, of course, to shred it, but that's okay. It saved my shredder. And then if you want to keep your pictures, you can, there's a company, and I can't think of the name of it right now, that you can take it to, and they will put them on digitally for you, so you can have them on your computer. And one of the things that I had started doing was writing the names of the people on the back of the photo, writing the names of the people in the picture, because later on in life, you might forget the names of these people. So that's a helpful hint. But just know that you don't have to save all the pictures. At the end of the day, it's about people and the emotions behind the stories. And we're most likely, one person does know the people in the pictures, so it's your job to write them down. And if the family cares about it, for like our family photos, I did write the names of people on the back because I figured we go through my mom's photo albums, and fortunately, some of the names were on there. Some of the names we still remember, some of the names she still remembers, some of the pictures she still remembers in their names. So it's always fun, but I've found that it is best to put the names on the back and the year the picture was taken. That helps too, because it's your story. So next. Yes. So the photo on the left, remember we were talking about King Tut? So the photo on the left is what was found in his tomb, his garage, so to speak. He couldn't take it with him, and neither can we. So the photo on the right is what most of us are experiencing today. So just know that your treasures can be gifts for someone else. And you can get rid of things. And you should give your precious heirlooms to your family members now so they can enjoy them and you can see that they're enjoying them. Are there any questions?
I don't see any. That maybe they're going to unmute. That was wonderful. I learned a lot. I have to say the equal in, equal out would be challenging for me.
I know,
But
I know.
yeah, that one's hard because I'm like, if I want a new bookshelf, you're saying I got to get rid of something that size. But you know what? It's a good challenge. And I really like the 10 minutes of cleaning. I really like that one. I think that would be really good for my kids. We used to do a 15-minute cleanup at the end of the day. And since COVID, we stopped doing it. So I think that's a great one. Oh, it looks like, Kinship, can you tell us your name so we can rename you? It says the person, it says Kinship.
That's me, Vaughn.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you. Go ahead, ask your question.
I don't have a problem in getting rid of stuff that I don't need. The problem that I have is I don't want to give it to Goodwill. I'm looking for like a clothing bank or something, and I'm having a problem with that.
Okay. Let me. Well, have you heard of Success, Dress for Success?
Yeah, but I got kids' clothes. My grandson just had a growth spurt, and I got a whole bunch of 10s and 12s where he grew from 10 to like 14. He wears a 14 straight up.
Can I make a suggestion?
So now I'm buying him 16s, 18s.
Yes,
I like to make a suggestion. I know with the Kinship families before COVID, a lot of them would share with each other because you say the kids are growing fast. And so maybe there's a time when you meet together that everyone can bring clothing to exchange, or maybe you could even share it sometime on Zoom, that I have size 10s or size 12s boys and someone else may be in need, and they can meet up with you to exchange or get the clothing. Because there are a lot of families that need clothing. Kids grow really fast.
And
Yeah,
Union Gospel Mission is another one. I just remembered because when my dad passed, I took a lot of his things down there too.
because I don't want to take it to Goodwill anymore.
Right.
Goodwill is so doggone high.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're trying to make money.
Yeah.
So they're gonna, they're a reseller, so they're gonna charge us more. I rarely shop there.
I wonder, those bins that you can find in parking lots sometimes that say clothing drops.
Oh,
Are
right.
those going to the Goodwill? That's something I don't know where those go to.
Well,
Go ahead. Someone have an answer for that?
No,
Yeah.
Rose put down something in the chat.
Yeah, she said she donates to Hope Place in Othello, and that it's women's and children's shelter.
That's the one. Isn't that the one that's next door to Union Gospel Mission?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, this is Renee. A lot of those drop boxes that are in the parking lots, they send those clothing items over to third world countries.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome too.
But I haven't seen none.
Okay.
Before COVID, there was a lot of them because I've seen a lot of clothes and the Treehouse. Because my kids used to be a part of Treehouse.
Okay. Well, COVID did make a difference in a lot of things. So maybe they're not doing that as much. Because then wouldn't they have to clean? Do they clean them automatically after they receive them? I don't know.
No,
Most
they don't.
places.
You clean them before you clean them before you drop them off.
Okay.
Because I used to go to the Francis house too.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Teresa Gossett wanted to say, she said she went from 3,000-foot house to a small apartment. It took 3 months to get rid of stuff. Her father was a serious hoarder. So she likes to do the 3 to 3 rule as you suggested. And yeah, Goodwill is so convenient, she said. Yes, it can be very convenient.
Yeah, it's
sorry.
like I said, we moved back into our house, and I'm still not unpacked, and we've been back a year. It was very traumatizing to me because I was already, my mind was set on downsizing, moving into a Rambler, and we lived in a Rambler. We rented a Rambler for 4 months. So I got used to it. And then we had to move back to our house, and we have 2,400 square feet. And I'm just like, I don't want this. So, in fact, when we first moved back, that extra stuff was in the garage. We couldn't park our cars in the garage. And then one morning I got up to go to work, and my car was making funny noises. I found out my catalytic converter had been stolen. So then that weekend, we cleaned the garage out and moved things around so we could park our cars inside.
Wow.
But it can be traumatic. There's no doubt about it. But it can also be cleansing, knowing that you've given yourself more space to work with, to just live in.
Right.
I keep telling myself
It's a nice fresh start, right?
It is.
It's a
It
nice
really
fresh
is.
start.
It really is.
We
Are
just
there-
were working on cleaning out our garage 2 weeks ago, and it was quite frightening because we both
2
like
feet
knickknacks.
by 2 feet.
Okay. Any more questions? I think Brenda was going to ask that.
Yes.
And you can ask questions from the first portion or the second portion. And we've got 9 minutes.
to see, can I come up with any more stories?
Oh, Sheila Daniels.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hi, Sheila.
I got an answer for people that call solicitors and so forth. I got the smart mouth little 5-year-old, right? And I hand him the phone and he starts questioning them.
He's 5, you said?
He's 5.
Oh, gosh.
And he starts questioning them. Who do you want to talk to? Who?
That's great.
My grandmommy's driving. She can't talk to you right now. What's your name? And they eventually hang up.
I love it.
That's actually brilliant.
It is.
Oh.
If you got a younger baby like that, hand the phone to the baby.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
Renee said he's 5 going on 15.
Yeah, really.
He's 5 going on 15, man.
I believe it. That's wonderful. I love that story.
I know, man. I don't know what to do with him.
Well, you did the right thing. Hand him the phone.
Renee know how he is.
I think my cousin questions them too. Addie, don't you question them? She'll make a whole thing.
Keep them on the line forever.
Yeah, the 5-year-old sends me text messages.
Yep.
And just a bunch of letters.
Oh, gosh. Well, like I said before, it's your phone. You pay the bill. You can do anything you want. And when you find out that it's someone that's not who you want to talk to, you can hang up. I know we were brought up, it was rude, to do this, to do that. But like I said, it's your phone. You're paying the bill. It's not rude. It's called self-care. Hang it up.
Yep. And my 9-year-old grandson, right? He'll answer the phone. I said, "Who is it?" He'll read off who it is. I said, "Boy, hang that phone up." But that 5-year-old, man, he'll keep you on the phone and talk to you and talk to you and talk to you and talk to you and ask you just all kinds of million questions. Whoever it is, they eventually hang up on them.
So there's a question in the chat that says, do you see that one about the name of, okay.
Oh, Teresa, she said we need more listings of places to give people or give to people who really need items for free. I do not want to be a hoarder. Me either. And then Brenda says, one second, my computer.
Not me, the other Brenda.
Oh, yes. I don't know her last name on here, but iPad Brenda says, will you be giving us the name, address of the places we can donate to besides Goodwill? Guys, what if we start a list? What if you guys send a list in like all the places you know of to Makina, and then she can forward it to me and we'll make you guys one list that we can send out. That way,
forward it to me too.
We can. Let me write your name down. I got you.
Thank you.
Donation. We can start a donation list because that would be actually helpful for everyone, and we can put it in the next what do we give out? The next manual. Because we usually give out a resource list.
Wonderful.
For some manual. That's a great. Thank you for that Brenda and Teresa. Thank you very much. Consignment shops are an option. That's right, Renee.
True. I've done that too.
Yeah. I usually would give to my food bank, but I don't live in Seattle. I live up north, so that's probably not helpful for you guys. And I don't know how they're operating now since COVID, but they used to take clothes and give them out as well as school supplies and shoes.
Well, I think food banks are starting to hurt because the what's the name of the subsidy that SNAP is either being cut back or going to be eliminated pretty soon, and food banks are already trying to find places where they can get more food.
Really?
I heard that yesterday.
SNAP is going to be eliminated?
Cut
Oh
back
my.
or eliminate it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
My
Yeah,
mom
but-
just agreed with you. By the way, she said
Okay.
to say hello to you, Brenda, Cynthia Andrews. She's on her way out. She came in and goes, make sure you tell Brenda I said hello. I said, she's talking right now.
I love
You
it.
said hello, mama.
SNAP is not gonna be eliminated. They just cut it back.
Okay, I
Okay,
said
cut
cut
back.
back or.
We were
Yeah.
getting like $95 more. We're not gonna get that now.
Okay.
Oh my. I enjoyed
cut-
that extra.
Who
They're
you
cutting
telling?
the COVID money down. The money that everybody was getting during COVID,
Mhm.
they're taking that away.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's going to affect the food banks, you're saying? That's good to know.
Yes, yes, it's
Yeah.
gonna affect the food banks because, you know, they get their food from large donations most of the time, and a lot of the charities are not donating like they did before. And so now they're gonna need more. It's a
And
catch
the price
22.
of food has
It
not
is.
went down. It done gone up. I used
Right.
to go to Costco